Hiba here. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I'm learning Swedish as a foreign person living here in Sweden, the struggles that I have, my studying methodologies, some challenges that I face, and some tips that I have developed during the years. So why I'm learning Swedish? So I am living here in Sweden, and since moving here I've realized that speaking Swedish is essential if you want to live here and fit and integrate. When I was outside of Sweden and when I didn't live here, I always heard that Sweden is a country where you could survive if you speak only English, and you could get by and you could have a job and you could just basically live without speaking the local language, which is far from the truth. You're coming to a new country where everybody else speaks Swedish. So naturally, of course, you will have to learn it. When I didn't live here, when I just came for my Erasmus studies and I didn't plan on moving to Sweden, I didn't have any problem. That's true that people here have no issue speaking English, and they would switch when I would, for example, go to the supermarket or to any store or talk to any stranger. When I told them that I didn't speak Swedish, then they would switch to English very easily. But when I decided to move here and have a life, speak to people on a daily basis, then I realized that it's impossible to live here without speaking Swedish and without at least understanding the language. Also, having a good reason to learn a language is very motivating. So if you move to a country in which the target language that you want to learn is spoken, then that will be a very useful thing for you. When I first moved, I enrolled myself in SFE, which is the usual route that people go to. So in SFE, as many might know, it goes from A to D, so there are 4 courses. When I first came here and I enrolled in SFE, I went to course B, but soon after like a week or two, I completed that course and went to course C. And I also completed that course very easily. Those courses are very beginner friendly, and they are basically for people who maybe have not gone to school for a long time. So they are very basic courses, and I wouldn't say they are the best to learn Swedish, but it's a very useful outlet for many. I completed course B and C, but I was doing my master's degree and it was taking a lot of my time and I couldn't keep up with both of them, so I decided to quit SFE and I decided to just focus on my master's. The master's was 1 year long, so even before finishing the master's, I decided I wanted to go back to SFE because I wanted to finish the courses in order to go to the next courses, and I wanted to do a course in university, which is in Swedish, so I do need all the courses that I can have to be able to enroll in that course at university. So I realized that that was my goal, so I went back to SFE and I did course D very easily as well. In about a few weeks I was done with it. And then came Grundläggande. Grundläggande is a course after SFE, and there are 4 courses in that part. It is basically like middle school, something like that, but it's for people who have Swedish as a second, third, fourth language, whatever. And went to that, and I finished course 1, 2, 3 fairly easily. And right now I am in course 4 in Grundläggande 4. I have received good feedback from my teacher and I'm basically going to finish that course soon. I'm very happy about that because then after Grundläggande there is Svenska som Andraspråk, and in that part there are 3 courses, so it's 1, 2, 3, and you can choose the pace that you want to study them. Grundläggande I did study part-time. I did 50%, so it took me a bit longer, but I decided I want to do the next courses full-time. So I want to study Svenska som Andraspråk for about 3 to 4 months, and I'm hoping to finish it because once I finish these courses I will be able to go to university and I will be able to do this course that I'm missing for my teacher license. That is a great motivation for me to continue with my Swedish studies, apart from just fitting in society, just speaking to people, understanding, which is very, very useful. So going back to the courses in SFE or in the vuxenutbildning part, They are useful. I have seen a lot of improvement, and part of it is because of these courses. But it is true that if one has an extensive background in education, I have went to university for 6 years, if not more, and I do have a lot of knowledge when it comes to studying methodologies. So it is a bit challenging to go to the lessons in person. Up until now, I have been going to in-person lessons, and they have been a bit challenging to follow because sometimes the lessons are about, for example, how to do a presentation or how to research or how to cite. And all these things I have a lot of experience with, and I have mastered things a long time ago. So it is true that some of the lessons feel a bit like a waste of time, and for these lessons I opt out of, and the teacher is aware of that. So as long as you tell the teacher and teachers know you and know your level, then I think they will work around you. So you do have to expect that, and that's why a lot of people quit SFE or quit Swedish lessons. But I didn't let that put me down, and I want to continue with the courses in order to have all the titles that I need to be able to go to university. And apart from the Swedish courses, there are a lot of ways that I am learning Swedish. For example, I try to immerse myself in the language. I try to watch TV. I try to watch some Netflix shows that are in Swedish. I try to listen to the radio while I'm in the car. I also, when I hang out with my husband and his friends, they speak only Swedish, so I'm constantly listening to them, practicing Swedish, and it's also a Swedish that is natural and not the Swedish that they teach you at school, so it's more natural, more casual, and that has helped me a lot. I think the hardest part for me has been speaking outside in my day-to-day. I feel a little bit anxious to speak with strangers and make grammar mistakes or make pronunciation mistakes, which are natural when you are first learning a language. For example, I try to speak Swedish when I go to the supermarket or when I want to ask someone something, and usually they do reply in Swedish and everything goes well, but sometimes I'm a bit overwhelmed and I forget a word or something, and then they realize and they just switch to English. And then from there, it's very difficult to switch back to Swedish. So that's also an issue that I felt here, that maybe it's a little bit hard to switch to Swedish when you already normalize using English. Something that has been helping me a lot is this channel. I started this channel not very long ago, but I'm seeing myself improving when it comes to my motivation and when it comes to me using Swedish a little bit more and in front of people who don't know me. Even though I'm doing it in front of a camera, I know that there's a possibility that many people can hear me and maybe judge my Swedish, and I'm letting that a bit go, and I'm just putting myself out there and trying to do my best. Some tips that I may have for someone who is learning Swedish or learning any other language is to be very patient. Sometimes people can deceive us and tell us that you can learn a language very easily and in a short amount of time, but that usually is not the case. To learn a language, you need a lot of time and a lot of consistency. Also, to not be afraid of using the language, using it every day, using it with strangers, with people you know. Use it as much as possible. That's also another tip. Using it every day, listening to Swedish, using Swedish, whatever it is that you need to do to be able to improve, then you should do that every day. Learning a language is a long process, and I'm still in the process of learning Swedish. I am nowhere near done. I need a lot of improvement, I need a lot of practice, I need to stop being afraid or embarrassed of using Swedish in my day-to-day. And if you're learning Swedish too, I would love to hear any tips that you have or your experience here in Sweden learning the language, maybe your experience in the SFE courses or the courses after that. And I'm going to include some clips of me trying to pronounce some words in Swedish. I also do that a lot, just trying to pronounce random words throughout the day, and that's also a good practice. I need to show you first my cat because she looks very cute. She's sunbathing and she's taking in the sun that we have today. I'm so happy that it is sunny today. It's kind of rare. I'm trying to say the word archipelago in Swedish.
Skärgård.
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 Skärgård. I don't know. I'm trying to pronounce this word. There are so many words that are a bit difficult to pronounce for me, especially words that the end of the alphabet, so I don't know really how to pronounce them very well. So this one is a little bit hard.
Skärgård.
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 Skärgård. I use ChatGPT a lot to learn, and for example I'm gonna tell ChatGPT to make a sentence with this word. Använd detta ord i en mening. Vi åkte till skärgården i helgen.
Vi åkte till skärgården i helgen.
Vi åkte till skärgården i helgen. Vi åkte till skärgården i helgen. En andra mening. Vi bor nära skärgården. Eller vi tog en båt till skärgården. Vi tog en båt. Not sure about the pronunciation.
Vi tog en båt till skärgården.
Ja, vi tog en båt till skärgården. Oh yeah, sometimes I just practice by asking ChatGPT some things. I also sometimes just chat with ChatGPT in Swedish to practice my spelling, and I will just tell ChatGPT act as a teacher and correct me if I say anything wrong, and let's have a conversation in Swedish. And I just text in Swedish and it replies and it corrects my sentences, and I think it's a very useful tool to learn languages. Let me know if you have used ChatGPT to learn a language. I think it's an underrated method. It can help you with a lot of things. It can correct your sentences. It can even give you ideas on how to study. It can tell you also how the language is used on a daily basis, how Swedish people use the words. It can basically act as a teacher if you can't afford one or if you don't have access to one. I think it's a very useful tool to learn a language. Don't forget to like, subscribe and join me on my journey here in Sweden. Vi ses i nästa video.